Wow, that's great. We're on? Oh, hello, everybody. Bill Apter here. Welcome to the Bill Apter Weekly Video Magazine show. And we've got a bunch of people in here already. We've been advertising this like crazy. We have a real busy show. Let me just, by the way, since I don't have the WrestleMania sign here, I figured I could do it that way. Makes sense. Well, it does to me. I was reading before my director here non-viciously interrupted me. They can be vicious interruptions. I was reading the brand new issue of Total Wrestling Magazine, which you can go to Facebook and go to Total Wrestling, their Facebook page, or TotalWrestlingMagazine.com. And every month I have a column here. It's the all about Rey Mysterio. And the Apter Files is exclusive to Total Wrestling Magazine. Hang on. I just had a Snyder's of Hanover pretzel stick, and it was sticking there. So we'll get rid of that. Anyway, Total Wrestling Magazine, print, digital, Total Wrestling on Facebook. We have a lot of show tonight. A lot of magazine. It's dang pretzel here. All right. A lot of magazine, a lot of stuff to talk about. And I'm so glad that all of you are here to witness what is going on. So let me reduce this and let's get to what I'm reducing is the screen so I can get to some of my notes. Of course, how many of you, by the way, are going to New Orleans, Louisiana for WrestleMania weekend and all the great shows, all the great indie shows? Well, I've been working on something and everything is not settled and set just yet. But if you're getting there on Thursday to New Orleans, I will be there all weekend, guest of Awesome Wrestling Entertainment at their table, signing autographs, signing my books, shaking hands with people. I'm not running for office. But I like shaking hands with people. And if, by the way, if I don't say hi to every one of you, we are on a format here. This is our weekly news magazine. And so I'll be at WrestleCon on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Please come over to the Awesome Wrestling area and say hello. And if you don't have my book, I'll be signing them there. And I'll have my audio book there as well. And Tully Blanchard, J.J. Dillon, C.W. Anderson, Short Sleeve Samson. So many of the people from Awesome Wrestling Entertainment will be at that table as well. By the way, we need a special shout out today. As you know, everybody talks about Rusev Day. Well, you know what today is? March 15th. Do you know what it is? It's Big Ray Day. Big Ray Hernandez, who is our top correspondent, video correspondent and producer here at OneWrestlingVideo.com and OneWrestling.com. It's his birthday today. So let's all do it. You ready? Even in the chat box. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Big Ray Day. Happy birthday to you. Okay, we did need to do that. There's a lot going on. Let's get to, since this is a video magazine, let's get to the cover story. The major cover story this week is, as you know, hold on a minute. It's that pretzel again. It went from here to there. Now it's going down there to my stomach. I know you people are thinking of Scott Hall right there. But anyway, a lot of serious stuff going on in the news. And I want to go through it because I want to get our first guest, Molly Holly, on somewhere in the next few minutes. And she will answer some of your questions in the chat room. The major story that has come out in the headlines, as you know, there has been an internet furor over the Women's Battle Royal at WrestleMania being named the Fabulous Moolah Battle Royal. The fans have spoken, and they don't want it. And the reason I hadn't talked about it when I was on early this week on my Monday Night Raw and Tuesday Smackdown show because I didn't know any of the facts. But some things have come out that have actually made the WWE possibly have a change of heart. Nothing is totally official yet, but they are, from what I understand, talking with someone in WWE today, just going to be calling it the WrestleMania Women's Battle Royal. I checked out a tweet by the businesslike but lovely Stephanie McMahon, and I want to read that tweet to you regarding this situation with the possibility, and I think it's a probability, of changing the name of the Fabulous Moolah Battle Royal at WrestleMania to the Women's Battle Royal. It'll be the first one, of course. And as you know, the men's division has the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. So Stephanie McMahon's tweet, and I quote, "Thank you, WWE Universe, for using your voice. What remains most important is that the," in quote, "WrestleMania Women's Battle Royal," out of quote, "will be a historic match and is part of WWE's unwavering commitment to our women's division." So at this point, the wrestling battle royal, the women's wrestling battle royal, titled until we hear officially the Fabulous Moolah Battle Royal, right now that is up in the air, and Stephanie McMahon's tweet calls it the WrestleMania Women's Battle Royal. So we will, that's what we'll call it until we hear differently. Roman Reigns this week coming out on Monday Night Raw, and you know he was really PO'd that Brock Lesnar didn't show up again. And he confronted Kurt Angle, the general manager of Monday Night Raw, and he said, "You know what? If you or me or anyone out there would have not shown up from work 2 weeks in a row at this point, we'd be fired. So what is this? What is going on here? Is Brock Lesnar Vince McMahon's boy? Sure he is." That's what he said. And he said, you know, he passed Vince McMahon in the hallway, and Vince McMahon didn't even bother telling him that Brock Lesnar was not going to be there. So Reigns went back into the production room where Vince was sitting there with his son, Shane McMahon. The heck was Shane doing there? He should have been out on the road with the Smackdown crew. And he told Vince McMahon, he wanted to know what's going on. Is this your boy, Vince? You know, special privileges for Brock Lesnar. And Vince said, well, why don't we talk about this a bit later? Put his arms around him and said, go to commercial. When we came back from commercial, Roman Reigns emerged from a dressing room or an office. Renee Young was there ready to interview Roman Reigns. He didn't want any part of it. Mr. McMahon came out, and he did speak with Renee Young, and he basically said that Roman Reigns is indefinitely suspended. Of course, he'll make it to WrestleMania, I would think. And when she pressed Vince McMahon as to what Vince McMahon said, he said, well, kind of like what another member of his family likes to say, know your role and shut your mouth. So that was pretty hard. Then the next night on SmackDown, Shane McMahon announced that he was taking an indefinite leave of absence from SmackDown. But before he left SmackDown that night, he made a ruling that at WrestleMania, I've got a tickle on the nose that's driving me crazy, that Kevin Owens will battle Sami Zayn at WrestleMania. Both Zayn and Owens took exception to that. And they said, you know, they could have that match anywhere, big deal, WrestleMania. Shane McMahon left the ring. They followed him, and they attacked him backstage. And the vicious, first of all, they beat him up in the ring. Sami Zayn blindsided him when he was talking to Kevin Owens. And the vicious attack backstage, I will tell you something, 2 vicious incidents this week that were really bad. This one by Kevin Owens doing his pop-up powerbomb onto some huge steel plate backstage there, and you could hear the thud all over the arena. And then earlier, of course, on I believe, on not Fastlane, it was on Monday Night Raw with the Bludgeon Brothers practically breaking the back of Big E. Fastlane, they almost broke the back of Kofi, and they really horribly hurt Xavier Woods. So yeah, the Bludgeon Brothers going crazy. But what happened backstage, that's what I want to talk to you about. Backstage, what Shane McMahon, the injury, what happened to him through Kevin Owens' pop-up powerbomb, absolutely disgusting. Really, really disgusting. Okay, we got to move on because, again, and those are the 2 headlines. I have another headline that we'll come back to in a little while. But as I mentioned, we have a lot of guests waiting to be on the show here. So our first guest, we're going to go to the Bill Apter Video Magazine interview segment. And I always hope that these people are going to answer their phone and we don't get their answering machines. So let's call Molly Holly. And hopefully you people out there cannot detect these numbers that I'm dialing, because she can't take everybody's call. I know she'd love to. She's just one of the nicest people that I've ever met. Okay, let's get her on the show, and we will take some of your questions. I love doing this show live every week, and I hope you're all enjoying it. Okay, let's turn the volume up here.
Hi, Bill.
Hello, is this Molly Holly?
Yes, it is.
Hold on a minute. Let me plug you into our speaker system.
Okay.
And you're on live on the Bill Apter Video Magazine. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
And I saw some photos that were taken of you at the big event on this past Saturday on the Slam Wrestling site. And you were with Medusa and several other ladies. Boy, you look terrific.
Oh, thank you. It's amazing what some fake eyelashes can do for a gal.
No. What I noticed though is that your hair was blonde again.
Yes, for the photo ops, I did a little costuming. So my real ordinary boring hair was underneath all that blonde fabulousness.
Not boring at all. You always look terrific. And you were always, and still are, and this is what I want to talk to you about. Tell us, first of all, how you wound up, and nobody knew this. And it was such a great surprise to me. I got up off the recliner and said, "It is her," on the WWE Network. When you came into the Royal Rumble, what an amazing pop I felt from everybody. And I was one of those people. Yeah. So tell us how that came to be.
Well, I got a call from Mark Carano maybe like a month and a half before the Rumble, and he asked me if I would do it. And I told him, I'm like, well, I don't want to embarrass myself, and I don't want to be a poor representation of, what they call legends or whatever. I thought, I haven't really done any wrestling in the last 13 years. I've been helping at the Academy Pro Wrestling School every now and then, but just with like verbal coaching, I don't really take any bumps or do any flips or anything.
At the WWE Performance Center?
No, actually at Ken Anderson or Ken Kennedy and Don Davari. They have a pro wrestling school in Minneapolis.
Right.
And so even though I had been there, I hadn't actually done any like wrestling moves there. So I told Carano, I was like, I don't know if I can pull that off. And he's like, no, it'll be fine. No, you won't have to do anything you're not comfortable with. And so I agreed to do it. But of course, he said you can't tell anybody. And so I didn't. And I even lied in an interview. They were like, so you can see the Rumble? I was like, nope, not me. I was like, oh, I'm so liar. But had to lie, you know, in order to have it be a surprise.
Well, you were protecting the business old school, like we all did.
Right.
Yes.
Yep. And so, sure enough, the John Laurinaitis asked me if I could do a Molly go round, and I was like, I don't know if I can. And so the first time I did any top rope maneuver was live at the Rumble. Like in 13 years, I just like went for it and just hope for the best. And you know, it wasn't as good as maybe in my prime, but I thought, hey, for a 40-year-old, you know, it has been.
Well, no. Well, don't put yourself down like that. And women rarely give away their age, but you just did. But that's okay. But you look tremendous, because when you did that, I was like, you hadn't lost a step. See, maybe you knew, maybe you knew something with you that it wasn't exactly like it was in the prime of your career, but the people watching it, and I was one of them, it looked great.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, the next day, though, I felt like I got hit by a Mack truck. I mean, my body is not used to doing those kind of things. My neck hurt, my back, my arms, legs. Like, it was just, I thought, man, how did I used to do this every day? And maybe, you know, you become conditioned to it, or maybe I'm just not as tough as I used to be. But I was so thankful to be back home in my, like, bed and to not have to get beat up for a living.
Exactly. That's, you know, it's funny because when people say ask me what I do for a living, people that don't know what I do this, I said, well, I used to have a camera and take pictures of half naked men and women in bathing suits beating themselves up. So that was always the answer. So how did you prepare for this through the years when you weren't wrestling? How do you take
Say that again. There was a little bit.
That's okay.
Was a little bit
So that's okay. So through the years when you weren't wrestling, after you stopped wrestling regularly, how did you keep yourself in such terrific shape?
After I stopped wrestling, what was the next thing that you said?
How did you keep yourself in such terrific shape?
Oh, well, so I grew up in a powerlifting family. Like my parents owned a gym, and my dad was a competitive powerlifter. My mom did bodybuilding. So in my family, like health and fitness or lifting weights and all that kind of stuff was just like brushing your teeth. It's like something you do. It's just a part of your lifestyle. So I knew that even after wrestling that I would try to be healthy, mostly because when I get to be older, I want to be able to do all the things that I want. You know, I want to be able to go hiking. I want to go on adventures. And so for me, I mean, I don't work out with much intensity, but I do like exercise regularly and try to eat nutrient-dense foods, mostly just because I want to be healthy.
What is your junk food snack when you need to stray away from that?
What was the what?
Your junk food snack when you want to get away from that for a day.
I don't know. I guess I like kettle chips. I guess would be a junk food. I don't know. Sometimes I can eat like 6 or 7 strips of bacon.
I like mine totally burnt.
Oh, okay.
Totally
I like
burnt.
mine crispy, but not burnt.
So now, of course, see, we never would have worked out with something like that. So now, of course, people are saying she looked so great in the Royal Rumble. Now that there's going to be a WrestleMania Women's Battle Royal, would you consider being in that?
Well, I always say if the price is right, if they're going to pay me the big bucks, I'll consider it.
You will, because a lot of the people that are in our chat box here right now are asking, you know, are you going to do it one more time?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I'll do it until I'm 100 years old if they pay me well. It's like some people do it for the love, you know, like, oh, I just love feeding off the crowd or being a part of the action. I actually don't really like performing. I love hanging out with everybody backstage, but I don't really like the performing in front of a crowd
really?
thing. But yeah, I'm just totally over that. That's like my least favorite part is the actual performing. But who doesn't like a little extra cushion in their savings? So
yeah.
It sounds so terrible, but I wish I could say I just do it for the love and the passion. But at this stage in my career, I mean, I did it when I was younger. Like when I was younger, it did not matter if I got paid $10 to perform in front of 6 people. Like I just loved it. But now that I'm kind of accomplished all my goals and dreams in pro wrestling, now it's more like, hey, this can help aid towards my retirement, or if I want to go on vacation, make some extra money. So it's more monetary than passion these days.
So a lot of performers in other genres like acting and singing, before they go out and open that curtain, they get butterflies and feel like turning around. Did that ever happen to you?
I was nervous before I walked through the curtain. It was really cool. Dean Malenko was right next to the curtain on the inside of the gorilla. And so he was like one of my very first trainers, and to have his support, like through that, oh my gosh, here I go again, but to have him there, and then to have Charles Robinson, who also has been a part of my wrestling career since I was a teenager, and Charles was on the outside of the ring checking on me and to see if I was okay. That like helped reduce my nerves because I had such good friends there to support me.
Yeah.
But I did feel nervous, and not so much that I wanted to turn around, but more of nervousness that I might screw up and embarrass myself. So, because I just wasn't as confident
when
I was in my prime.
I mean, during the peak of your career, did you still have that kind of
ring
in
fright?
The peak of my career? Yeah.
I would say it would depend. If it was, if I had to do any kind of speaking role where I had to be on a microphone, I would get super nervous. But as far as like non-televised shows, I didn't really get nervous anymore. But I'd say for TV, I always got nervous for TV because it's live, and if you screw up, everybody knows about it.
Well, that's just like right now. We're live, so there's no. Okay, no, I do have some fans here in our chat room that are putting their fingers to the keyboards here, texting, etc. So let me ask you if you wouldn't mind taking some of their questions. Okay, Kelly Matthews says, Molly Holly, can you tell us about shaving your head for your friend battling cancer? That's a great question.
You said something about are they talking about WrestleMania when I shaved my head for WrestleMania?
Yes, for a friend, in honor of a friend battling cancer.
Actually, my mom had just recently gone through the whole breast cancer experience, and she had lost all of her hair and had to wear a wig and stuff. So it was actually my mom that had done that. It really, so my mom was definitely my hero, and it's my inspiration. But it was, I guess, for a lot of people, just symbolic for a lot of, since cancer, it deeply affects a lot of people's families and their lives, and so yeah, it was not for a friend, but for my mom.
Okay, well, we're glad to hear that, and yeah, I mean that's fantastic. Fans are writing in here about WrestleMania. They want to see you at WrestleMania. We love Molly Holly. Tell us what your. Go ahead. What would you like to say to them?
So nice.
So.
Yeah. Well, I am going to be. I am going to be in Louisiana for WrestleMania. I don't know what all I'm going to be doing yet. I might be doing some fan access stuff. So anyway, I'll be around. So I'm going to pack whatever, a variety of outfits, and then whatever they need me to do, I will be there. So I am looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to connecting with old friends. And of course, there's no real buzz in the air like it is around WrestleMania.
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Miss Global Wars says, can you ask Molly Holly if she was really in a relationship with Spike Dudley?
Oh, no, Spike was just my TV boyfriend, not my real life boyfriend. But I did enjoy working with Spike because he was so respectful. Like he, all the storylines and everything, he never did anything that made me feel uncomfortable, or, he was just a really great TV boyfriend. But in real life, we were not any kind of an item.
Okay. So it's finally revealed here on the Bill Apter Video Magazine. Gavinitis, our friend from the United Kingdom, says, I'd love to see who she would have her dream match with from the past, present, and future. So let's take that one at a time. Is there a dream match from your past that you never got to fulfill?
Of course, Beth Phoenix, she is amazing. Yeah. And so I did wrestle her on like her tryout matches and stuff, but never like on television. And so I think that it'd be really great to have a match against Beth Phoenix.
Okay. And what about, now you saw most of the present WWE amazing women athletes. That's what I call them. They're amazing women athletes. and not divas, amazing women athletes. So who on the present roster, if you could pick a dream match against on the present roster, and you being, let's say, in the prime of your career when you were wrestling all the time?
Yeah, because I was gonna say, like, now you know Charlotte is one of my favorites. I was like, oh my gosh, she would like destroy me. But if I was in my prime, maybe it'd be a little more competitive. But I'll tell you, Sasha Banks.
Oh, did we lose you?
45 minutes, and she took a ton of finishing moves.
Yeah.
I mean, that girl took a licking and just kept on. And I was really, really impressed with her. So I would say it's a toss-up between Charlotte and Sasha Banks.
Give us your comparison of what women wrestling was in your prime versus where it's gotten to at this point.
You dropped off for a little bit. You said, give me a comparison of what?
Of what women wrestling was in your time compared to what it is now.
Oh my gosh. Now it's like heads and tails above what I ever did. I mean, I would like to think of our era with Trish and Lita and Jazz and Gail and Nydia and Victoria. Like everyone really stepped it up and could hang and learn, do the moves. But the girls now, in addition to doing the maneuvers, they've got the whole package. They all look like superheroes. I mean, their costumes, their stage presence, everything is just heads and tails above anything that I'd ever done. I've just been blown away at their determination, their skill level. It's really the best it has ever been. Now.
Yes. And I'm so glad that the WWE is finally moving the women's division to be equal to the men's division.
Right.
Yeah. June Giovanni, ask Molly Holly how it was like having a match with the legendary Sherry Martel in WCW.
Sherry was great. Really, really liked her. She was super generous and kind backstage, and was, just wanting the fans to get everything that they could get out of matches. And so, yeah, I really enjoyed Sherry, and I miss her very much. Yeah,
I do too. She was not just a great ring character, but she had a heart of gold. She was so sweet.
Yeah.
Mick Paul says, I liked Molly Holly as Miss Madness in WCW, coming out with Randy Savage, Gorgeous George, and Medusa. Tell us a little bit about that, if you would.
Yeah, well, when I first got invited to be part of Team Madness, I thought, oh my gosh, how am I going to fit in with all these beautiful people? I was a pretty plain Jane, next to Gorgeous George, and Medusa is like a larger than life character with her height and stature and muscles and beautiful blonde hair and amazing physique and all this stuff. And of course, Macho Man is so iconic. And so I was nervous, but they fixed me up, bleached my hair, put me in a sparkly outfit. And it was really great to go really from wrestling at VFWs in front of, 50 people to all of a sudden being in main events with Team Madness against Kevin Nash and Sting and Ric Flair and Hulk Hogan. I mean,
what an iconic time.
Awesome.
Yeah, what an iconic time. Ask Molly Holly about her time. Cousin Molly, 2001, 2002. You were awesome as Cousin Molly.
Cousin.
Did you?
I loved it. I mean, Crash I kind of just copied his persona to try to win favor with the fans or whatever, because he was so well liked. And so I started out with him, and I loved teaming up with him and being, part of the Holly cousins. And then when Bob came back from injury and it was all three of us, that was a really, really fun time. I loved kind of being the underdog. Yeah,
you've been so many, you've been you, but you've been so many different variations of you so many times. This is a great question, and I was waiting for someone to ask this. Faith the Slayer, that's his name, or her name. Hi, Bill. Please ask Molly her thoughts on Ronda Rousey being in WWE. Does she think that they should be rolling out the red carpet for someone who is brand new to the wrestling business?
Ooh, that is a good question.
Yeah.
I think that when anybody who has gained so much respect as far as pop culture or just a wide range of different, she's so well respected worldwide that her coming to the WWE is an honor for us, I think, to have her want to be a part of it. And I think it's good for the business. I think that she'll draw her fan base into the WWE universe. And I see it as a win-win. Like, I don't mind that they're giving her special treatment and treating her like royalty. She's a legit, talented, amazing person. And so if she was just like a reality TV star that didn't have any skills or anything, I might be like, hey, she's just a pretty face. But the fact that she's like legit tough, I think that definitely gives her the upper hand, and she's more than welcome to get some special attention at the WWE.
Okay, 2 more questions for you. One of them is that people always ask, if you could go back and look back at the prime of your career, what was that one moment that shines above everything else?
As far as in the ring, WrestleMania 20, when I got my head shaved was pretty special. But the thing that really topped it was Beth Phoenix's Hall of Fame speech. That she said such nice things about me, and it really, really meant a lot to me. And really, that was like my greatest moment in wrestling, was just the fact that she said those nice things about me.
That is great. And now the last question is, where can people find you on social media if they'd like to connect with you?
They can't.
Boo! I knew that.
Terrible. I just don't have time for social media like that, or energy, or I'm not like promoting anything, like social media is such a great tool to be like, buy my book, or here's where I'm appearing, or here's what's happening. But I have a P.O. box, so people can write me an old-fashioned
a letter. Wow.
To P.O. Box 10833, and that's in St. Paul, Minnesota, 55110.
And do they put Molly Holly or your real name?
Sure. You can put Nora, Molly Holly. I've got a few things on there.
It's a post office box. They could put anybody's name on there. So that's, yes. Well, I just want to say it's been such a pleasure chatting with you. You have always been, wait a minute. You were telling you don't have time. Tell people what you're doing. Why you don't have time for social media.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I'm really living a simple life. I do volunteering. So I work a regular, ordinary job, which I love. But in my spare time, in addition to spending time with my nieces and nephew and my husband, I also volunteer with reentry support. So people coming out of incarceration who are wanting a new life and want to know how to connect with positive community. I kind of mentor people and help them get connected to different social groups, different faith-based groups, or 12-step recovery groups, and just kind of find their new tribe and their new network of people. So that's one of the things I do.
That's wonderful. When I first met you, I always knew there was something different about you. You were very classy and very intelligent. And that's why I always love to connect with you when I see you at the conventions and thing, because you're a classy lady.
Oh, thank you so much. That's so nice.
Well, it's the truth. Molly Holly, thank you so much for spending several minutes with you, and we may call you back in the future to discuss some more of this, your takes on the business.
That'd be great. I love to talk to you, Bill.
All right, likewise. So we're going to turn the page now on the magazine. Thank you, Molly.
All right, bye-bye.
All right, wow. She's tremendous. I'm sorry I couldn't get to all your questions, but we have so much to go through. It's time right now to go to the gorilla position, where Ryan Bowman has this week's Wrestler of the Week for us here. Hang on a minute. We got to get Ryan
Bowman
on the
GorillaPosition.com, and here's the Aftermag video podcast Wrestler of the Week. And our selection is a phenomenal one.
Oh, technical bummer
for the very best
going on
in
here.
WWE.
Hold on.
Wrestler in WWE when he defeated John Cena, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Baron Corbin, and Dolph Ziggler at Fastlane to retain the WWE Championship.
All right, wait a minute.
That moment was the culmination of two
Ryan,
decades of
Ryan.
And our selection is a phenomenal one. Destiny came full circle for the very best wrestler in WWE when he defeated John Cena, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Baron Corbin, and Dolph Ziggler at Fastlane to retain the WWE Championship. That moment was the culmination of 2 decades of proving all the doubters wrong, and for those reasons, our Wrestler of the Week is the phenomenal one, AJ Styles.
Well
During his
deserved.
time as the man in TNA wrestling, he was often considered a big fish in a small pond. Critics argued that his size and microphone skills were chief reasons that he could never be a superstar in the rare air of WWE. Now, after outlasting 5 other men and punching his ticket to WrestleMania, there can be no doubts. AJ Styles is phenomenal, and he will also be the reigning WWE champion on the biggest night of the year. For all those accomplishments and more, AJ Styles is this week's Apter Mag video podcast Wrestler of the Week.
Ryan Bowman. And don't forget to check him out at the gorilla position. All right, it's time now to go to the first part of our WWE, well, of our rankings. And TV, Travis Volts. He's there right now with the WWE Raw rankings for this week.
Thanks, Bill, and howdy, fans.
Howdy,
T-Volts here, and thanks for turning the audio page of this video format to the rankings section. This week, my team and I bring you the Raw Top 10 for a week that saw little action from the men's division. Also, to shake things up, just like Universal Champion Brock Lesnar was nowhere to be found Monday, we've left him out of the top 10 since he is already the reigning champion. Now, without any further ado,
yes,
coming in at number 10, Goldust, who continues to push for his mixed match team via social media. Number 9, Rhino, as the Man Beast received an unmentioned hometown crowd ovation from Detroit. Number 8, Bray Wyatt, who appeared via Titantron. Number 7, Woken Matt Hardy, who delivered a cryptic message via Twitter that might wake up Brother Nero. Number 6, Elias, who may need to sing, "If you can't beat him, join him." Number 5, suffering a hard loss in a tough match, Mr. Monday Night Rollins himself, Seth Rollins. Number 4, picking up a hard-earned victory over Rollins, Finn Balor.
Yeah.
Number 3, and slipping back in the rankings due to suspension following his tour of the gorilla position, Roman Reigns.
Wow.
Number 2 this week belongs to the reigning Intercontinental Champion, The Miz. And while he's counting down the days until his reign is record-holding, some fans are counting down the days until the odds say he loses his title at WrestleMania. Number 1 belongs to the monster among men as Braun Strowman looked unstoppable as he went solo in the Tag Team Battle Royal. Will he be solo against the Bar at WrestleMania, or will he be singing a different tune? That's it for this week, fans. We'll talk again this spring. Back to you, Bill.
All right. Yes, spring is in the air, although it's cold out here. So let's talk about two of the things there. That Finn Balor and Seth Rollins put on a great match this past week. And Braun Strowman, I mean, what an amazing storyline actually coming up here, that he is I don't know if he's going to be ordered to find a partner, which if he does, it should be Nia Jax. I know there's a lot of other stuff going on with Nia Jax, but wouldn't it be amazing if he beat the Bar and held both titles? And then I guess he'd have to pick a partner, but that would be absolutely incredible. So I've gotten a lot of feedback to our nostalgia interviews. People said, can you run more of your nostalgia interviews? So yes, what we're going to do right now, and I'm going to take some notes here on some other stuff that's coming up here shortly, is we're going to go back to 1975, all the way back to 1975, when some of you probably weren't even born. 1975. And we talk about managers all the time, the great managers. Well, one of the great managers was a wrestler first. He was known, his nickname was the Vampire because he used to take his teeth, his fangs, and just chomp them into wrestlers' foreheads. But then he became a manager, a classy manager, and his name was Classy Freddie Blassie. Let's go back to 1975 and a 4-minute Apter chat with Freddie Blassie. And I love to imitate his voice. Let's go to Fearless Freddie Blassie. That's not him, of course. This is the intro music, fans. Fred Blassie will be coming up momentarily. 1975.
That this Spears area was going to outshine him. So he put him with the Indian, and they pulled a dirty double cross on him.
Right,
I said,
now,
don't tell me. Now, yes, man, Bill. You pressing that geek. You're on Bruno Sammartino's side.
No.
You're on Chief J. Strongbow's side. And that Freddie Blassie's 50-50 right down the line. I don't deviate one bit. I get up here, and my mind, I tell the truth. As I said before, Bruno Sammartino, he's the turncoat. He's the pink. Chief J. Strongbow is the only Indian that I know that speaks with a forked tongue. This guy here, he is so yellow and so gutless. The same thing goes for Bruno Sammartino. And you will find out, like the rest of these pencil neck geeks, tonight, Spears here on, he will emerge victorious from that ring.
All right, let me ask you this question. A guy like Strongbow, a lot of people have said he deserves a shot at the heavyweight title.
Yeah.
If everything fails, and he feels that he can go to somebody like Blassie or Albano or the Grand Wizard, would you take Strongbow under your wing to get him a title shot?
There is no way that I would even touch Chief J. Strongbow with a 20-foot pole because I might become contaminated.
Oh.
There's no way that I would handle the likes of Bruno Sammartino.
Why?
As I said before, these two guys, you roll them, turn them upside down, you wouldn't know which end is up.
Oh.
They're two of a kind. Lepers never change their spots. As I said, Bruno Sammartino, he's gutless, he's yellow, and Chief J. Strongbow is the same thing, and that's the reason why I would not handle him. And that's the reason why Lou Albano would not handle him. And that's also the reason why the Wizard would not handle him. Because we three think alike. And I guarantee you, none but three managers would have anything to do with neither one.
All right, well, little technical issue there where it stopped before it was supposed to. But again, we have a big show today. And we talk about Fred Blassie. Fred Blassie was an incredibly hated wrestler on the East Coast. They loved him on the West Coast. There's one guy who really likes bad guys, and it's a brand new column here in our video magazine. Big Ray Hernandez loves the bad guys. It's the appeal of the heel. So let's take a listen to the new column, Heel Appeal with Big Ray Hernandez. Take it away, Big Ray. Oh, the file isn't playable. What is going on with our... Hang on, let me try it again. Here. Okay, here we go. We'll try this one. Big Ray. A lot of tech problems.
This is the Heel Appeal,
Yeah.
and I am Big Ray, and of course it is your pleasure to listen to my opinion because mine is the only one that matters. Now, what necessarily is a heel? What constitutes a bad guy? Just because you guys think someone's a bad guy? Well, I have a guy who I think is a pretty darn great guy, and he came into the WWF, the World Wrestling Federation, in 1987. Who am I talking about?
Yeah.
I'm talking about the great, the generous, the amazing $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. Why do I think he was amazing? Well, let's run down the list of the great things this guy did.
Okay.
I mean, he was a self-made millionaire. He gave away $100 bills every single week. I mean, yeah, he shoved them down the throats of ham and eggers, but I mean, it's free money. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, he gave a job, a well-paying job, to the worthless Virgil, who ended up stabbing him in the back eventually. And yeah, he paid Andre the Giant to win the WWF title for him.
He
but
did?
work smarter, not harder. And then he had to go and reach into his deep pockets because President Jack Tunney, whoever the heck that guy was, he stripped him of the WWF title. So he had to go and purchase his own title. But he didn't just go on the low end. Of course, he purchased a $1 million championship, which, of course, he defended like a true champion. But one of the greatest things $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase would do is give lifelong lessons. And during an episode of Superstars of Wrestling, he invited a little boy to the stage. His name was Sean. All Sean had to do was bounce the basketball 15 times. But did Sean do it? Absolutely not. And yes, some people will say, after the 14th bounce, it was supposed to be 15 times.
Right.
$1 Million Man may have kind of stuck his foot there or whatever. I don't know. Maybe it was an honest mistake, but he knocked the ball out of Sean's hand. Sean did not finish the job. And Sean that day learned 2 life lessons. Number 1, if you don't get the job done, you don't get paid. And number 2, everybody's got a price for the $1 Million Man.
I was waiting for that.
This has been Big Ray's Heel Appeal. Again, the pleasure was all yours.
Well, you know what? It's his birthday today. So today is Big Ray Day, but he will be here weekly on our live Bill Apter video magazine podcast with Heel Appeal, a different heel every week. By the way, the Thursday of WrestleMania weekend, we will not be on live. We may do a taped show, but we will not be on live at that point. Okay, right now, as you know, every week we usually have Ian Riccoboni, if I pronounce that right. He is one of the two broadcasters of Ring of Honor, along with Colt Cabana. But tonight, while we're taping this, I want to talk about Women of Honor. So we are going to call the lovely Mandy Leon. Every time I talk to her, I don't know if all of you know who Barry Manilow is, and his biggest song was, "Oh, Mandy, well, you came and you gave without taking." And every time I see Mandy Leon at conventions, etc., I always sing Mandy to her. So I don't know if I'm going to do that tonight. So I have the phone number of all these gorgeous women, as we say in New York and Philadelphia. Gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. All right. And hopefully she picks up. There we go. There we go. All right.
Hello.
Oh, Mandy. Well, you came.
Hello.
Let's see if she knows who I am. Well, you came and you gave without taking. I was just telling our live viewers here that every time I see you at a convention or a Ring of Honor show, I always approach you with that song. And we've done how many selfies, video selfies with that song now?
Oh my gosh, I have a whole folder in my phone that's just filled with a million videos.
That's
Selfies.
That's great. Of you and I, you listening to me doing Mandy. And you remember when I rapped it to you?
Yeah.
So now people out there are going,
priceless.
yeah, people out there are probably going after rap. Hang on, let me put on my Darius Rucker rap hat here. See, what I'll do is I put the hat on here and I do, "Oh, Mandy, like you came and you gave without taking, but I sent you away, oh, man." See that? You'll see that on the replay. Now I have to get my comb over. Anyway, welcome to the, this is the Bill Apter video magazine podcast, where unfortunately we can't see you. We would love to, because as we always say, as I tell people, us New Yorkers always say, you're gorgeous. And it's a shame they can't see you right now. But
I know. I'm going to have to make that of you somehow and then do it another day for sure. In person.
Yeah. Well, you know what? You have an invitation to come down to Apter's Alley. And
sounds good to me.
And co-host the show with me. I would love you to do that.
That'd be fun.
I would love you to do that. So every week, the past few weeks, we've had broadcaster Ian Riccoboni on here giving us ratings and news from Ring of Honor. But it's rare that we've had any in-depth discussion about Women of Honor. So tell us when Women of Honor started and whose idea was this and how did it all come about?
Oh, my goodness. So Women of Honor was around for a little bit back in the days of Daisy Hayes and Mischief and Sarah Del Rey. For those who have been watching Ring of Honor for a long time, there wasn't ever a legitimate division, though. They would use girls from Shimmer in the company and have a few matches every now and then. And then over time, once those girls kind of retired or moved on from wrestling, you didn't see so much women's wrestling. And when you go to Ring of Honor shows throughout the past few years, it's just been one or two women's dark matches before, house shows every now and then. For me, when I started training, 6 years ago, that was my biggest goal stepping into Ring of Honor at the dojo, was just basically saying, I'm here because I want there to be a women's division inside Ring of Honor. I want to be the first women's champion. Like, these are my goals. And saying this on the first day, people thought I was absolutely out of my mind to have the audacity to walk into a school on my first day of training and say that with no experience.
Kind of very bold.
Yeah, definitely. So, but over time, I think I proved myself and I gained my respect. And one day, after just training and paying my dues in other companies, I came back to my trainer. I said, "Hey, we have a show in Baltimore. Is there any way, just taking my chance and asking this, that I can have a match? I'm good friends with this girl, Diana Carrazzo. We've worked each other in numerous times in a bunch of different companies. If I bring her in to introduce you and you can see her work, would you give us a match?"
Yeah.
And to my surprise, they said yes. They gave us a dark match in Baltimore, and that turned into they were doing YouTube exclusives back then for the guys, and they decided something went wrong with the men's match that night. Well, let's put the women's match on YouTube instead. And literally overnight, it turned into this viral sensation, and people wanted to see more of it. And from there, it just built into something huge, where they wanted to see more women's wrestling. And now, 3 years later, we have an official division, and we have a 16-woman tournament to crown the first ever Women of Honor champion.
Yes. Now, this is also not just taking place here in the United States. If I hold on, I have to adjust my comb over here. Okay, this is not just taking place in the United States, but I understand there is competition going on in Japan as well.
Yes, we had 2 first-round matches in Japan, and we just recently, this past weekend in Las Vegas for our 16th anniversary pay-per-view, had 2 second-round matches here with Mayu and Kagetsu from Stardom. They came out here, so
yes,
very, very cool.
And now, have you competed for Stardom at this point?
I did, yes.
Yeah.
I spent almost 3 months in Japan.
Right.
Yeah, recently I came back the beginning of October, and I competed with them in their Stardom tournament out there, which was an amazing experience in itself.
Now it's a complete and I know I saw you since then at a convention, and I kind of walked you into that question because I knew about that. But the way the ladies wrestle in Japan, and even the guys too, is much more stiff than it is here in terms of correct?
It is. It's a lot more intense. I didn't know what to expect as my first time competing there. I was very nervous, but excited at the same time to learn. And to my surprise, it was just, wrestling I find is just an all-around understanding, just the language in itself. Wherever you go, you understand the language of wrestling. And I didn't find it as hard as I thought it was going to be to have matches with the women in Japan. It was actually a lot of fun, and it was a great learning experience, even with the language barrier there. Like I said, wrestling is wrestling, and it was an amazing experience.
Is this something you always wanted to do, by the way? When you were growing up, when you were like a teenager, and people said, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" What did you say to them?
Yeah, it's so crazy. So the gist of it is my mom was a huge wrestling fan. My mom loved wrestling, like Razor Ramon, Hulk Hogan, The Rock. She's still in love with she would watch all the time. And I watched with her, but it didn't stick to me until I got a little bit older, and I started seeing the Attitude Era emerge with, the women like Chyna and Lita and Trish. And that's when it was like, oh my goodness, these girls are beautiful, and they're in the ring, and they're so dominating and fierce. Like, I want to do this. I could do this. And a lot of people see my promotional modeling career and a little bit of acting that I've done, and they see it as a transition into wrestling. But a lot of people don't know is I did the promotional modeling and acting basically to, it was convenient and to raise my money to pay for my training for wrestling.
Sure. So where can people see Ring of Honor is coming up, of course, in New Orleans, is that incredible show on WrestleMania weekend?
Yes, so we're going to be in New Orleans April 7th, and we already sold over 5,000 tickets.
I know,
and crowd
and is there going to be some Women of Honor action on that show?
There will be. So we're going to be having our semifinals and our final match to crown the first ever Women of Honor champion in New Orleans. Yeah,
that is great. And also part of the big news on the male end is that Kenny Omega and Cody Rhodes will be wrestling each other that night. Yeah. And I will be there. I'm coming to see that show.
Oh, you're coming.
Yeah, that's the hot show to see. I'm not going to miss that. My son Brandon and I will be there covering the event, and we will be looking to see some great Women of Honor and male Ring of Honor wrestling there. Mandy, where can people find you on social media?
They can find me on Twitter at Mandy Leon XO, on Instagram at Mandy Leon, and Facebook.com/Mandy Leon XO too. I'm so excited you're coming to New Orleans.
Oh yeah, no,
a live interview there too.
I wouldn't miss it, and I'll be at WrestleCon signing my book and the audio book also for Awesome Wrestling Entertainment. So yeah, it'll be great. It's always great to see you. I always enjoy that.
Likewise. Let's take a ton of selfies.
We're going to do it. Video selfies. Mandy, thank you. And by the way, who are you looking forward to? Who is your dream match? Now, we're not saying Ring of Honor or Women of Honor, but if you had a dream match today that you could get into the ring in 1 hour from now, all trained for it, and in this corner, Mandy Leon. In the other corner, who is it?
Oh my goodness, that's hard. I would say I recently had one of my dream matches, which was against Io Shirai in Stardom.
Okay.
I think she's the best women's wrestler in the world right now. Gosh, but past or present, I would have to say, just from an inspirational standpoint and getting the chance to meet both of them, would have to be Chyna or Trish Stratus.
Yeah, that would be amazing. That would be amazing.
Yes.
That would be amazing. Well, you never know if Trish Strat, at least on the Trish end, you never know that whether she's watching Women of Honor and checking you out. I mean,
I think, hey, she's still got it in her. She looks amazing.
Oh yeah, she sure does.
In the Royal Rumble, she looks fantastic. So
we just had Molly Holly on a few minutes before you, and in that Women's Royal Rumble, she looked tremendous.
Oh yeah, she did. Oh my goodness, they all did. They all looked so amazing.
They still got it.
Great.
They still got it. Yeah,
they definitely do.
Mandy, thank you, and we'll see you at WrestleMania weekend at Ring of Honor, and get your tickets, as they say. You'll see the Women of Honor, Ring of Honor, and Cody Rhodes against Kenny Omega. So yeah, it's going to be incredible.
And we also have the Festival of Honor before the show as well, where everybody can meet all the stars and meet them and ask questions. So I'll be there during that as well. So
yeah, wait. We would love to see. And everybody, if there's someone you really want to meet in the wrestling business who's a terrific person, gorgeous, and a real role model for ladies wrestling, it's Mandy Leon. Thank you, Mandy.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Bill.
All right, pleasure, and we'll talk to you soon. All right, Mandy Leon from Ring of Honor. All right, let's plug back in right now. Again, we've got so much going on tonight. The Gonzo Shark is here with his Smackdown. Well, you know what? We just talked to Mandy Leon, so let's go to Gonzo Shark's top 10 WWE rankings of the women. Gonzo, come on in.
Good evening. This is the Gonzo Shark for Bill Apter's Video Magazine podcast.
Thank you.
And I dug myself out of not 1 foot, but 2 feet of snow to bring you this week's WWE Women's Top 10 rankings.
He lives in the
So I'm not going to waste any time. I'll get right down to it. Coming in at number 10 is Absolution's Sonya Deville. At number 9, we have a woman who has had quite the little run for herself lately, tagging along with Raw Women's Champion Alexa Bliss. That would be Mickie James. At number 8, we have SmackDown Live's Natalya. At number 7, we have a woman who has gotten more and more impressive each week. And she did come up a little short the other night in her bid for the SmackDown Live Women's Championship at Fastlane. That would be the Riot Squad's Ruby Riott.
Yeah, good match, though.
At number 6, we have the boss, Sasha Banks. At number 5, we have a woman that I actually haven't ranked before. She had 2 impressive wins this week. She is Miss Money in the Bank. None other than the Queen of Staten Island, Carmella.
She looked really good,
At
very
number
impressive.
4, we have a woman who is going through some real deal turmoil lately, but I still think she's the baddest woman in the women's division, and that would be Nia Jax.
Yeah, man.
At number 3, we have the woman who shocked the world Sunday night when she showed up at Fastlane and challenged Charlotte Flair to a match at WrestleMania for the SmackDown Live Women's Championship, and that would be the Empress of Tomorrow, Asuka.
Yeah.
At number 2, we have the SmackDown Live Women's Champion, Charlotte Flair. And at number 1, we have the Raw Women's Champion, Alexa Bliss.
Yeah.
I ranked Alexa Bliss higher than Charlotte Flair, even though I think Charlotte Flair is great. But I believe that Alexa Bliss has the most clear-cut character, and she's the most clear-cut heel in the WWE Women's division.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she plays that off great every week, and she's gotten better and better with that. So that's the reason I believe she deserves to be number one. You can follow me on Twitter at GonzoShark1, Facebook.com/GonzoShark1. Look for all of my material at OneWrestling.com, Vince Russo's The Brand, and now at WrestlingWithWrestling.com. Until next time, the Gonzo Shark checks out. Back to you, Bill.
You're not checking out. We need
Good
you to
evening,
talk
ladies and
Smackdown.
gentlemen,
Yeah.
children of all ages, humanoids. This is the Gonzo Shark for Bill Apter's Video Magazine podcast.
Give us some
And I'm here to bring
Smackdown.
you the Smackdown Live weekly men's top 10 rankings.
Go for it.
Coming in at number 10 is a guy who hasn't won many matches lately, but I still think he's great, the Bulgarian brute Rusev. At number 9 is a guy who hasn't had the best luck lately. He lost a match at Fastlane. He lost his belt. He lost a match at SmackDown Live. The glorious Bobby Roode. Hopefully Bobby can get back on the winning track soon. At number 8, I have a guy who's always causing trouble on SmackDown Live. The prize fighter himself, Kevin Owens.
Yeah. KO.
At number 7, we have a guy who partnered up with Kevin Owens on SmackDown Live to ambush Shane McMahon, Sami Zayn.
Mm-hmm.
At number 6,
wasn't fair.
We have a guy who I still think is one of WWE's most legitimate superstars, the modern-day Maharaja, Jinder Mahal.
Good choice.
At number 5, the guy who's going to challenge AJ Styles for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania, the artist, Shinsuke Nakamura. At number 4, I got the 2 guys that are probably the most unstoppable-looking dudes in the WWE right now. They completely laid waste to the Usos and the New Day at Fastlane. None other than SmackDown Live's baddest tag team, the Bludgeon Brothers.
He put a tag team in the top 10.
Is a guy who can finally call himself a WWE Grand Slam champion after he captured the United States Championship at Fastlane.
Yeah.
None other than the Viper, Randy Orton. At number 2, I have one of the best tag teams out there right now. They've really come into their own over the past year. They're having great matches. They're cutting phenomenal promos. None other than the SmackDown Live Tag Team Champions, the Usos. And at number 1, a no-brainer, as it is every single week, the WWE Champion, the phenomenal AJ Styles.
Yeah. Yes.
You can follow me on Twitter at GonzoShark1. Facebook.com/GonzoShark1. Look for all of my material at OneWrestling.com, Vince Russo's The Brand, and now WrestlingWithWrestling.com. Until next time, the Gonzo Shark checks out. Back to you, Bill.
Back into the water, Gonzo Shark. Before we get to our next guest, Stephen Goforth has been running this great tournament that we've been running on OneWrestling.com. I want to give you a quick update, and this is a press release he sent. The greatest tag team tournament has now dwindled to 32 teams from the original 64-team field. The tournament brackets can be viewed at www.chairshotstothecranium.com. I love that. Chairshotstothecranium.com. The second round has great matches to vote on. Go to chairshotstothecranium.com to see who's left. We're running late on time, so I can't read the entire press release right now, but www.chairshotstothecranium.com and help us find through that who is the greatest tag team of all time. Independent wrestling. We know tons of people who promote independent wrestling. Promoters are always looking out for talent. They're always trying to market their shows. Recently, as you know, I've been on several shows in the past few years for Awesome Wrestling Entertainment. And I'm just looking for a phone number here. And the gentleman who is behind Awesome Wrestling Entertainment is a guy named Doug Ward. Some people call him Marvin Ward. We will clear that up as soon as I can get him on the phone here. But what I wanted to do is, there are certain things about independent wrestling that wrestlers like and they don't like when they're working in the indies. So I thought it would be interesting to bring a promoter on, and Doug Ward is the choice tonight, and find out one of the reasons why people take to Awesome Wrestling Entertainment and working for him. So let's see if we can get him on the phone. So far, everybody's answered. Yeah. So this is the man behind Awesome Wrestling Entertainment, and they have a great show coming up in October. Is that you answered the phone? I was hoping I wasn't going to get your. We are live, Doug Ward. It's Doug Ward, Marvin Ward. Would you clear that up, please? Is it Doug or Marvin?
Well, it's both. First name has always been Marvin, but I've never really liked it, so I just prefer to call by my middle name.
Okay.
But it doesn't matter.
All right.
Either one will work.
Name. So I've been telling people that, and I just figured we do a series of a few of these things, that I've been working for Awesome Wrestling Entertainment independently for several years now, including that pay-per-view that you produced many, many years ago. And I want to thank you publicly for letting me be in the Gene Okerlund role there. But when people talk about independent promotions, I always bring you up because whenever I worked for you, there were certain things that went on, not just with me, but with the wrestlers, where they were all taken care of, even the minute they got in the car with you or to the arena. And I'm going to tell people that every time that I have been on one of his shows, and I hear this from every wrestler, he's got the money in the bank to pay these wrestlers. He's not waiting for the gate to come in to see if he can pay them. He pays them. So tell us something about this, Doug.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on, Bill, because, we've known each other for a long time. And Bill Apter, the greatest journalist in this industry, period. And it's an honor to be on your show, Bill.
Thank you.
But, yeah, man, independent wrestling, it's a funny business. I mean, you got to have a love. You got to have a passion for it. And the first thing that I will tell anyone today, and I take this from experience, is there's a lot of people that want to be in the wrestling business. There's a lot of people that have dreams of being in the wrestling business that shouldn't be. And it's because it's just a dream. You got to be cut out for it. You got to be meant out for it. But before anybody ever considers about doing a wrestling show, before you book the first wrestler, the first talent, make sure whatever you offer them, you have the money sitting in your bank account before you do anything, because too many guys, and I'm one that fell prey to it myself when I first started in this business.
As a wrestler, when you were a wrestler.
Exactly. That's right. And in my early stages of promoting too, when I was just a kid is what I call it. You put a show together and you're thinking that if you put some posters out and you're hoping it's going to draw and you're going to use your gate and pay for wrestlers, and more times than not, that doesn't happen. And you're stuck with, having to tell these guys, well, hey, you just came in for nothing. I can't pay you. And which, that of course gives you a bad name real fast, real quick.
Yeah.
And most people don't bounce back from it. But the worst part is for the wrestlers, man, this is what they do for a living, and not only just the wrestlers, but the talent, the journalists, everyone, this is what they do for a living. And you're messing with these people's family, their livelihoods, their money, when, they expect to come in and get an X amount of payday. And when they get there, you don't have it. It just makes a bad scenario for everyone.
Yeah. So if the money's not in the bank before you offer, especially some of the major stars that trust you, then just don't do it.
Exactly. And I'll tell anybody that the first rule of thumb for anybody, professional wrestling, is make sure if you're ever going to do an independent wrestling show, have the money in the bank before you even open your mouth. That's going to save a lot of trouble and a lot of heartache for a lot of people. And I can say this from experience, Bill, because I did it myself. I had, in the beginning, the early stages of my career, I thought, hey, I was wrestling, and I'm like, anybody can do this wrestling thing. And, I got a building and booked a bunch of big name guys. And unfortunately, some of them ended badly. And thank God for, some kind-hearted individuals that stepped in to help me out and smarten me up real fast. And from then on out, I learned it just makes a better event when everybody's been paid. When they get to the venue or to the town, nobody has to worry about their money. They go have a good time. They interact with the fans, and it just makes an all-around, great event for everyone involved.
Okay, so what I'd like to do, first of all, I mentioned to everyone that I will be at the Awesome Wrestling Entertainment table at WrestleCon, along with Tully Blanchard, J.J. Dillon, C.W. Anderson, Short Sleeve Sampson, and some other. Barry Windham will be there as well. But what I'd like to do is another page in this video magazine is called Ask the Promoter. So I'm inviting you fans out there to either tweet me at Apter1Wrestling, or you can email me at bapter@onewrestling.com. And we're going to do this every week with Mr. Ward for a few weeks to ask the promoter questions you have about promoting wrestling shows. Now, one other thing I wanted to bring up before we let you go this week is you have a lovely family. And the wrestling thing is, when you're promoting a show, takes a lot of time away from the family, doesn't it?
It does. It does. I mean, you have to be dedicated. You really do, especially if you take this industry seriously and you want a successful event for everyone involved. I mean, you're literally day in and day out from the time you get up to the time you go to sleep. And a lot of times you don't go to sleep, especially on show weekends. The travel, the logistics, the airplane tickets, the hotels, getting guys where they need to go and gals, and promoting it, putting posters out, radio, you name it, you have to hit the ground running. And for 30 days leading up to any event, if you're not busy every day with that show, something's wrong.
Yeah. Yes. Good point. Even the popcorn at the concession stand has to be there.
Exactly. They have to plan weeks in advance.
Right.
Especially for
all this little
AWE
stuff.
shows.
Right. It's all this little stuff. Doug, thank you very much. Where can people find you on social media?
You can at Facebook at official AWE or officialawe.com.
Okay. Thank you. And we're going to have you back next week to answer some more questions about how to promote a show the right way.
Love to.
All right.
Love to.
Doug Ward, we'll talk to you next week. Bill Apter with
Bill.
Doug Ward, Awesome Wrestling Entertainment. All right. So we are out of time. I know you can say it's your own podcast, Apter, but once you start going more than an hour and 15 minutes, an hour and a half, it gets like, okay, what's next? So I want to make sure we end this properly. Don't forget, I will have all the details about the Welcome to New Orleans Bill Apter one-man show being promoted by Kayfabe Entertainment. And I want to thank Doug Ward from Awesome Wrestling Entertainment for letting me do that with them on Thursday night and on WrestleMania weekend. Don't forget, my book is Wrestling Fixed. I didn't know it was broken. Don't forget the audio version too. Don't forget Total Wrestling Magazine, where my monthly column, the Apter Files, are in there. And don't forget that I want to thank all of you for enjoying this show. And I will be back Monday night for a Monday Night Raw report and to talk with all of you and answer your questions. Tuesday night for my Smackdown breakdown. And I'm just reading a question or two here, but we got to go. I hope you all enjoyed the show. And it says to end the stream, press here. So thank you all for watching, and let everybody know that we are on every Thursday night, Eastern Standard Time, on onewrestlingvideo.com. And the link is always posted on my Facebook page and my at Apter One Wrestling. And don't forget, subscribe to onewrestlingvideo.com. It's absolutely free of charge for everybody at One Wrestling. And Big Ray Day, I'll see you at the matches. That's a wrap.